What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, as you guys can see behind me, we're working on our 6.0 Powerstroke project. In the last video you guys seen, if you didn't, we rebuilt the 5R110, the transmission. I understand if you guys didn't watch it, it was a bear of a video. It's a more technical, full rebuild video, over an hour long. I mean, anyway, quick recap if you guys didn't watch it. We did a rebuild on the transmission, just a stock rebuild more or less, with a couple updates in the pump, couple updates in the, we used direct clutches, GPZ direct clutches, new valve body, new converter, stock input shaft thing, basically a stock plus rebuild. The unit looks awesome to start with. Probably didn't even need a rebuild, but since it was out in the elements and I really wanted to show you guys a 5R110 full rebuild. You know, we did a 5R110 breakdown on the channel before, but this one was a full breakdown of rebuilding a 5R110 from start to finish. So if you guys need any technical info on building those transmissions, check out that video. Otherwise, we're gonna kind of pick up where we left off from there. I already got the cab up in the air, as you guys can see. Got the valve covers off. We got the new injectors in from Warren Diesel, and yeah, we just got a few things. We got to button up on the engine. We got to put the power steering pump in, the fan, the whole belt assembly, things like that, thermostat. What else? I think that's about it. A couple little things, and then we can get the cab dropped down and start assembling it. Anyways, guys, just gonna go ahead and get into it. Woohoo! Thought that looked cool. So these are just Warren Diesel's reman stock injectors, nothing fancy. The first thing we're gonna do today is get these out. They come with new seals, all new seals. Everything's checked, everything's good to go. So we're gonna go ahead and get them installed. So before we go ahead and slam these injectors in the engine, I want to go over something pretty major on these engines. For the most part, 6.0s are pretty interchangeable from throughout the years. There are a few differences, one of the key ones being different injector hold downs. So you see how this one has a square end, this one has more of a round end. Also, this one has a T45 Torx versus this one's T40. This square style is going to be used on the 18mm heads, which are going to be found on basically like the 05 and earlier trucks. And then this is going to be on the 06 and up 20mm heads. Basically, that's just the head dowel size that holds the head to the block. So you really need to know what you're doing if you're doing a project like this where I just had a pile of parts and I kind of put it all together. You can't mix and match. Otherwise, you're not going to have your injectors sealing up. So what we're going to use on here, since it's a 20mm head, is this round style. And then other than that, we got all of our O-rings checked out. Make sure our copper washers are installed. We got a white O-ring, a black O-ring, and a blue one. And basically how these injectors, they go in one way. You got this little notch, indexes on this, and then you can slam it right in. Oiled up all our seals. And with any vehicle, you want to make sure your injector boards are clean before you start slamming in injectors. These are good to go, so we'll go ahead and get them installed. So again, you want to make sure all your O-rings are lubed up. I got a little of this Lucas assembly oil, put on the O-rings, and then you got your, and then install the injector. Just use the impact to slowly run it in. Now, this is one area where people kind of have their own opinions as far as the torque. So OEM torque on the early model, looking at the manual, is 24 foot-pounds. On the 20 mils, it's 26 foot-pounds. And then some aftermarket companies even recommend all the way up to 31 foot-pounds. Not been a fan of that. I just stick right around 27, 28 foot-pounds on them all. and I don't have a problem with bolts breaking or seals failing. So that's what I do. You do with that what you want. All right, so we got the oil rail on. Thing to note is the little nipples that go into the injectors. You want to make sure you lube them up. We got our standpipe dummy plugs installed. Always with these, you want to use OEM. Never use anything else. I've had any time that we've tried to veer away from OEM, always had a failure. So stick with it's the one thing that Ford really got right. Had to put you down real quick, but basically you want to split the standpipe up and you want to lube up all your O-rings, and then the dummy plugs, same thing. And then you're going to install them into the oil rail. The standpipe is going to go on the rearmost on both sides to connect to the branch tube that comes from the H-pop. Then your dummy plug is going to go up front, and you're going to torque them down to 60 foot-pounds. Your little Torx bolts here for the oil rail got torqued to 89 inch-pounds. And then after that, we're going to slam on some valve covers, and I'll get the power steering pump put on. That's kind of boring. I'm not just going to keep showing that. And then we got to put the AC compressor lines on, run the starter wiring to the starter, and then just have a couple more things to wrap up on the exhaust, and we'll be ready to drop the cab. All right, so we got the transmission in. 10 out of 10, don't recommend doing it the way we did it with the engine hoist. I don't know, maybe just the way we did it was wrong, but it was more work than just doing it the normal way underneath. But anyway, everything bolted down. Quick note, with these 5R110s, you want to add a ground strap. So I basically sanded away the paint on this bell housing bolt and the bell housing itself. Nice like 10 gauge wire that's going to go up and go directly to battery negative. One thing I didn't cover was you also want to make sure you clean the face of the bell housing and the face of your rear cover. These 5Rs are known to have grounding issues that will cause a ton of issues with them. So the more you can help with the grounding, the better you'll be. But this ground strap alone should take care of everything. As you guys can see, we got pretty much everything else buttoned up as far as fans on, shrouds on, AC lines are on, all the pulleys, lower radiator hose, FIC them, everything's ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and get this cab dropped. So it goes pretty quick getting all this together. Now I gotta go hunting for some hardware. Got missing ABS hardware there, missing the battery tray hardware, waiting on some more hose clamps to come in. Just a few things we're kind of just missing. That's what happens when you have a project sit for years at this point, so it is what it is. But I guess we'll go ahead and get started on the transmission side. Heyo, look what I found. Whole bunch of hardware. Probably all the hardware we need. Oh, come on. So now we got everything we need. We got our hose clamps, everything we need to get the engine bay put together. I'm draining the ATF right now. Look at that fresh fluid. I'm hoping that this e-brake cable is salvageable. I kind of messed it up. I pulled the cab and I didn't unhook that, so we'll see if that's salvageable. Yeah, we're moving along. So I'm gonna call it a night today, and tomorrow come in early, probably before everyone gets here, try to get some work done. All right, so I got the trans pan off and the filter out, and I want to show you why I had to do what I had to do. So if you notice, these two pans, ever so slightly, are different, but they're different. So this is a factory 6.0 pan. This is a factory 6.4 pan. It's like an 08 to 10, 03 to 07. You can see the filters are different. This is a 6.4 style filter, meant to go in here. This is a 6.0 style filter, meant to go in here. Hard to tell, but basically the pan holds up the filter and keeps the filter in the pump. So you can't mix these filters up, or you'll end up having a very bad day. If you notice, the 6.0 filter actually sits up a little higher than the 6.4 filter. So if you were to use the 6.0 filter like I was about to use in this pan, eventually this can come loose, and then you have no fluid pressure and you can burn up your unit. So the other good thing about the 6.4 filter upgrade is you get a much better filter. As you guys can see, we got this screen, nice pleated like filter material versus just like a screen. So this one actually filters a lot more, and if you want, you can even remove the toilet paper style filter and just have the one filter. But we're gonna run both. I'm glad I caught this. Could have been bad, wiped out a brand new transmission. So we'll get this back together and filled up. All right, guys, it's Saturday. We can finally get some work done. Been trying all week to get some work done, but you know, it is what it is. Got a shop to run. But you guys can see we're doing the final cooler flush with the hot flush machine. I already took this time out to go ahead and get the motor mount installed, bolted in. We got our lower radiator hoses, everything underneath hooked up. You got your two transmission cooler lines, lower radiator hose, motor mount bolts, ABS line. We got a ground I just want to clean up before we tighten down. Another ABS line over here. And then unfortunately it looks like I'm gonna have to replace this brake cable because it's obviously overstretched, as you guys can see. So all right, we got everything done underneath that we need to get done. The torque converter bolts are in, or nuts. The cooler lines are hooked up and flushed out. We just got to change out the toilet paper trans filter underneath, and then right now we're just going to start filling up the oil, of course, always using my zinc additive. Got it in already. And what I like to do with the 6.0s is we're just using conventional 1540, and I like to fill up at least half the oil from the oil cooler. Basically it just helps, in my experience, with priming the engine, especially on a fresh fire up like this. So basically we're just going to go ahead and fill up. My gauge isn't working anymore, so we're going to start at 57.5 quarts, I guess. Probably put about a gallon down the hatch like this, and then we'll fill up the rest through the regular oil vent. But yeah, this really helps with that first initial priming up. A lot less cranking to get oil throughout the whole Huey system and the engine itself. So all right, we got all our fluids in, pretty much the moment of truth. I'm gonna go ahead and what we're gonna do before we try to start it up, I'm gonna take the starter wire here, and I don't have the oil filter in. What we're gonna do is basically make sure that we're gonna get oil up in our oil filter housing, and that'll let us know at least that we got most of the engine primed, and we can be sure that we're actually pumping oil with our low pressure system. So what I do is just kind of use this piece, put it right here. All right, guys, got it all cranked up, primed up. Now comes the most nerve-wracking part of any build like this. If any of you have built an engine, transmission, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. It's first fires. So let me get you set up on the tripod, and here goes nothing. Hell yeah, man, I'm stoked. She fired right up. Obviously a lot of cranking to get the H-pop system bled out. One thing I forgot to mention too, hook up a battery charger when you're cranking for prolonged periods, especially like on the 6.0s where we got to prime the high pressure oil. Even though these are brand new batteries, it'll just make the life of your starter a lot better. The lower the voltage goes, the higher the amps go, and that's when you get a lot of heat. So overall, super stoked. Just gotta fill up coolant, and we're gonna get it warmed up, check the trans, and yeah, then we just gotta bolt down our body mounts, and I think we'll be ready to test drive. Look at that power balance, perfectly balanced throughout. Oh, that's smooth. Smooth. All right, all the fluids are good. Don't know why that light's on, but we took care of the ABS light. The rear sensor in the diff was out, so we're gonna go on a little test drive. Zeus, you excited? Oh, bro. Just a quick little test drive around the block. Got no insurance or tags, so just running the shop stuff, and I don't like doing that with my personal vehicles. So hopefully we make it back to the shop. That's going to be the meaning of successful test drive today. So let's do it. Look at that. That's 2 years of dirt and dust on that windshield. All right, now we're going to see how this engine and trans do. Oh, we made our first shift. Smooth too. Oh, we're in third now. Enough. Sorry about all that beeping, but also I got the scanner up, watching a few PIDs. The one thing I want to note is the injector pressure regulator would actually regulates how much oil goes to the high pressure system, kind of like a fuel pressure regulator on a common rail. You see right now we're at idle, just sitting. Oil's warm, 180 degrees at 190, and we're at 23% IPR. 23, 25, that seems to be the sweet spot. That lets you know that more than likely you don't have a high pressure oil leak in the system, at least not yet. So a little gauge before you go out on a drive and then end up with a dead truck. Check that before you go once the oil is nice and hot. So doing good so far. All right, finally got that pesky noise to go away in the brake light. Had to mess with the brake e-brake pedal because that cable is bad. But guys, I'm stoked. She's driving good. She's shifting through the gears. Again, we're just on like back roads, nothing crazy, just to get a mile or two in. But so far, it's doing pretty good. I'm stoked. All right, guys, we made it back to the shop. Test drive successful. I did like 4 or 5 laps around, just basically around our building, little side streets, terrorizing the neighbors. So sorry, guys, we got a few things left to do on this truck, namely being that cat. Somebody decided they needed it more than we did back at the old shop when it was sitting outside, so it is what it is. We got a few things else. I got a couple body mounts. It just kind of really just threw it together so we could drive it today as far as body mounts, little things like that. But overall, guys, I'm stoked. Hope you guys liked the video. I mean, we went from basically cab off, engine out, or engine was in, but you know, engine was torn apart more or less, and basically we got a running driving truck. So few things we got to do still, namely the brakes, the cat, like I said, a couple little things, but otherwise, guys, I am stoked. As you guys heard, I'm just happy. This thing's been sitting. I've had it for like 2 years, just doing nothing, and finally we're getting to a point where I can get rid of it. So next few videos, we'll be getting it cleaned up, getting the brakes done, getting everything finished up, finalized, and put some miles on her, and then we'll see what we're gonna do with her after that. But guys, I'm stoked. Again, if you guys didn't hear me the other 50 times I said it, but yeah, I'm just happy. Nothing like resurrecting a truck from the dead. Anyways, guys, I'll end the video here. Thank you so much for watching. If you got any comments, questions, concerns, leave them down in the comment section below. If you could, please leave a like. Really helps. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe. Stay tuned for future episodes on not only this truck, that bad boy, and a few other things I got going on. We're gonna do some oddball stuff on the channel coming up soon that really just I'm gonna try out, see what you guys think, but we'll see. So again, guys, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.